the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. There's lights that burn so brightly, in the northeast sky they shine. From a place that Geordies worship, where legends wear number 9. You can travel right round the world, even meet the Pope in Rome. But nothing beats the feeling of when you come back here to home. No matter how life changes, we'll never be far apart. The northeast always home, and it's always in your heart. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV. And yes, it's a match review after yesterday's disappointing result. Newcastle 0, Arsenal 2. Joined by Roly. How are you, Roly?
I'm okay. I'm still disappointed from the result yesterday, but I'm not stressed, as 7 points from 4 games is doable. And as I said in the preview show, I was relaxed going into the game because it wasn't a must-win game, because there's still enough games left for us to get the points we need. And that's presuming that both Manchester United and Liverpool win all their games. Now, West Ham did us a great favour by beating Man United. So all we have to do now is match the results of either Liverpool or Man United, and we're in the Champions League. We don't have to win all our games. We just got to get enough points to get over the line, and we're going to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So if you like what you see, then please smash the likes. It really does help the channel. So if you haven't smashed it, then please smash a thumbs up. That'd be fantastic. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then please smash the subscribe. Free to do so, helping the channel grow. And that bell notification, that will tell you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows indeed. So currently on 541 subscribers, so 9 away from 550.
Excellent.
So, keep 59 away from 600.
Well,
so
if you haven't subscribe now, get your mates to watch and get them to subscribe as well, and your family.
Just going to delve into some comments before we get into the main thing. Alan says, "Mon Tony, what can I say on the day? The best team won, but we were robbed by that stinking referee." Yeah, we're going to talk about that, Alan. Absolutely, mate. Andrew says, "Some of our lads were awful yesterday. Arsenal did a good job, to be fair." Yeah, again, Andrew, we're going to come into that, mate. Wasn't a pen either. Oh, I don't know, Andrew, but I'm going to have my say about this. So don't you worry about that. Alan says, "We definitely need defensive midfielder in the summer. For me, Bruno is better as attacking midfielder. We missed Longstaff. That's what we did."
Yeah. We've got no replacement for him as well. The problem
coming out from Eddie Howe is that there is more scans or tests to be run on Sean Longstaff. So there could be something a bit more serious than first thought of bruising. So that's what Eddie Howe said yesterday in his post-match after the game. He said, "We don't know how serious it is." He says, "We thought it was bruising, but it could be a little bit more than bruising. So there could possibly be a break. If it is, we will not see Sean Longstaff again this season." So there we go. And if it is a break, and if I was the club, if I was Eddie Howe, I'll be raging at bloody Andre Mariner, because I'll tell you now, Andre Mariner, if Sean Longstaff's got a break, you're a fucking knobhead, mate, because I'll tell you now, when he went down that penalty area against Everton, you should have got him treatment, but you made him carry on. And when he went down again, you made him get up and carry on. So Andre Mariner, if he has got a break, it's down to you. And I hope you're pleased with yourself this morning, because you've just probably cost somebody that season. And excuse my French, by the way, guys. Andrew says, "We win the rest, lads, no fear." 6 points, Andrew, with Champions League. That's all we need. Big up. Arsenal showed backbone and fight, but where it was when it really mattered, says Arsenal forever.
Yeah. Arsenal played us really well. The I think they edged it in the end, but on a different day, Odegaard's shot goes wide or hits the post, and Shah puts the ball wide. And a different day, Murphy's one hits the post and goes in, and Isak's hits the post and goes in. Fine margins, a very close game with two very, very good sides. It went Arsenal's way this time. But they played us really well.
Yeah, absolutely, Blakey. In that, with our goal difference, 2 wins is enough for us because Liverpool can only get a maximum of 71 points. So we're missing Longstaff. Yeah, Bia says, was the same style as the Villa game, constantly stop-start, never really built up a lot of pressure. Again, we're going to come into that. Alan House, good morning to you. He says, Cher took it away at the end. The own goal was unfortunate, wasn't it, Alan?
Yeah.
And
he had to do something because there's an Arsenal player behind him for a tap-in. It's just unfortunate it went into the net.
Yeah. If you're new to the channel, mate, smash that subscribe. That'd be great. Thanks. Bias says, wasn't a pen, wasn't clear and obvious on-field decision stands. Sorry, was a pen, he said. Not the best result yesterday, but Man U lost, so it's not that bad. Top 4 still in our hands, says Paul.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go to the match yesterday. So, we started off pretty well. Within the first minute, Jacob Murphy unluckily strikes the post, which, was unlucky he hit the post because Ramsdale was beaten.
It's good. It's good the way he got the ball out of his feet as well to get the shot away.
And then we get the penalty. And then, players go up, handball. Yeah, even the referee agrees. Chris Kavanagh straight points the spot. It's a penalty, according to Kavanagh. Then there's a VAR check. Right, this is where I'm going to have my little rant now about this, okay? And some people may agree with it. Some people may say no. Right, now you look at it. And I still wasn't convinced after all the replays whether it hit his leg first, then hit his arm, or what. I mean, it's still, to me, it's inconclusive. Right, if VAR are taking 7 replays to look at that, and this is Michael Salisbury. This is the man who done us over against Crystal Palace when he wouldn't allow Willock's goal. This is the same man who really hasn't got a lot of experience. And why the hell is he on VAR? Now then, he's sitting there, he's going through it. It's taken him nearly 2 minutes to reach a decision to send the referee to the monitor. He's looking at 7 replays. He sends a referee to the monitor. Chris Kavanagh standing at that monitor, looking at various replays. Then he was about to walk away, and then he went back again and looked at more replays. Now, the whole idea of VAR is they can overturn a decision if they think there is a clear and obvious error. If you've got 7 replays and you can't see anything or you're just guessing, then it's not a clear and obvious error, is it? So at the end of the day, that penalty stands. If you can't see that penalty stands at the end of the day because it's not a clear and obvious error. If it was a clear and obvious error, then yeah, okay, the referee does have to reverse his decision, like we've seen in the past. But you don't take 7 replays to look at it. I mean, it's, Christ, honestly, some of these people in VAR, they just do not know how to run this game. They're re-reffing this game, and this is not what VAR is about. You are not re-reffing the game. All you are doing is you are looking for a clear and obvious error. Now, as I say, it's too inconclusive whether it does look like it hits the leg and goes on the arm, but then it looks like it strikes the arm at the same time, but you don't know. And the problem is, right, and then obviously Shearer then puts Dermot Gallagher under pressure, and Dermot Gallagher, if you've seen that video, looks very awkward. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't like the way Shearer has a go at him, but Shearer's absolutely right. Again, you've took 7 replays to look at it. How's it clear and obvious? And he says, do you think Dermot Gallagher, or do you think, or is it right? And you can see Dermot Gallagher say, oh, what do I do? What do I say? Because Shearer's got him on the cosh. Shearer is absolutely spot on. But the thing is, though, why have they took 7 replays to look at that incident when, I can't remember who it was on TalkSport now. It might be Darren Bent, I'm not sure. He says, you only have to look at 2 replays and you can see it straight away that it's hit the leg. Now, if an ex-pro footballer can see that it's hit his leg off 2 replays, why has it took Michael Salisbury in VAR to look at 7 replays? And then why has it took Chris Kavanagh on field to look at various replays of it? If somebody can see it's only hit the leg after 2 replays. So, okay, he showed Stu Wolf, so that probably does say that it's hit his leg. Either way, we don't get the penalty, fair enough. But all I'm saying about the VAR is, why have VAR took so long to come to that decision, Roly?
Yeah, I mean, it's the clear and obvious bit is the thing. As in Shearer's video saying, has he made an absolute howler? No. Howard Webb said when being interviewed that for VAR to get involved, it's got to jump out the screen. It took a few replays for me to realise, when you look at his shorts, it does hit his leg first. Fair enough, they got to the right decision, but it's taking too long. Because if they got to look at so many replays and take so long, how can it be clear and obvious? Because they should be able to look at it in two replays and say, yeah, that's wrong. They've got to give them a time limit or a number of replays they can look at, because they're not. They've said they're not supposed to be re-refereeing the game. They're looking for out-and-out howlers, which have been quite a few this season. You're looking at, by the end of the season, they'll have at least one real howler every week with the number of ones that they've got wrong, the really bad decisions they got wrong. Right, they came to the right decision on this case, but was it clear and obvious? If you need to look at it 7 times and take 2 minutes to do it, it's not clear and obvious.
Well, the thing is, Rory, but you look at right. So okay, that's not a penalty. But West Ham United were robbed last night against Man United. Well and truly robbed. Because if you look at the Lindelof incident, okay, he's got his arm by his side, but he actually moves his arm in that position so he can block the ball. Now, how is that not a penalty? I'm sorry, if Man United had scored an equaliser and then maybe gone on and won that game 2-1 or whatever, West Ham, that could have put West Ham in serious trouble. They could have ended up being relegated at the end of the season because of that one result, because of that one decision by VAR, which, in a way, if you look at it,
it's not the first one.
Handball day, but it's handball all day, So, but luckily enough, West Ham went on and won the game, so they're probably not bothered about that incident now. They've probably thought, well, it doesn't matter because we've won the game. VAR couldn't do anything about our goal, but, okay, they stopped us getting that penalty. But West Ham carried on and won the game.
I think the other thing about VAR taking so long, in that particular phase of the game, we were on top. We're really putting Arsenal under pressure. And having that 2-minute stop gives Arsenal time to regroup and try and get back into the game, which they did.
Mm-hmm.
It's in this particular case, it's not so much I think they got the decision right. I won't argue with the decision, but it's the amount of time that they've taken. Because that's like game management for teams when you go down, like Arsenal were doing from about the 3rd minute, trying to break the game out. It's a break in the game. If one team's on top, it gives the other team a time to regroup and get their act together, which it did for Arsenal, and they obviously went on to win the game. But it's the break in the play which is almost as important as the decision. Because if it's a decision for a team that's in the ascendancy, it goes against them, right, you're disappointed, but you've also broken the rhythm of the game, which is what people go down for and stay down for, is to break the play up, to break the momentum of one team or another. So they should have a strict time limit. And if they don't come to a decision in that time limit, right or wrong, they go with the on-field decision.
I mean, did you think Dermot Gallagher looked really uncomfortable the way Shearer was having a right go at him?
He wasn't happy.
Was he?
No, but
is Shearer right or Shearer wrong?
Well, To be honest, I think they're both right. I think the decision in the end was right, but it wasn't a massive howler. And if
No.
they have to look at it 7 times, it's not jumping off the screen at you. It's a tight decision. So they should have gone with the on-field call. So I think in that one, they're both right.
Yeah. Alan says, I feel they were a bit better on the day. Yes, we missed Longstaff, but I don't feel that would have changed the result. Missed a chance that would have changed the game. I'm not sure because Longstaff does that dirty work. He does the breaking up a play and he does a defensive side. So where you're now asking Bruno and Joe Linton to come back deep and help out in the defensive side of it, and it's affecting their game. So you do sort of miss Longstaff in that that ascendancy. But I mean, Arsenal went up and scored at the other end against the run of players, I would say at the time.
Yeah.
And Odegaard, okay, Botman could have probably done better, just block the shot. You look at Pope, do you think Pope went down a little bit too late? Maybe not. Maybe just couldn't get any other shot. Maybe it was just too good of a shot that no keeper got. Yeah,
it came through. It came through a load of players as well.
Bodies.
Yeah, it went through Botman's legs. I think it was Botman's legs, but it was. I think it's just. I think he got beaten by the pace. I think by the time he saw it, he couldn't get there. It was that good a shot.
I mean, I think if we'd scored in that first minute when Murphy struck the post, I think if we'd scored, I think that's a different game altogether.
Yeah.
Also, we're under the cosh. Probably that penalty shout came at the right time. I couldn't understand what Zinchenko was going on about with the referee. I mean, the referee's coming off from the monitor. Zinchenko straight in his face, asking him what he's playing at, saying, about the ball and everything. And then not giving the referee a chance to say, actually, there's no penalty. And then you see Zinchenko then applaud the referee and say, well, hang on a minute. You've just had a go at the bloody referee. Why are you applauding him now? So, why wasn't his face? And I tell you the thing with Chris Kavanagh, the referee, I thought he was very poor yesterday. I'm not going to take anything away from Arsenal because, they've done a lot of time wasting tactics. They rolled about on the floor, Jorginho, Jesus, they've done a lot of it. Xhaka, to name a few. And they've done that all game. And the problem with Chris Kavanagh was he was far too weak as a referee. He is not good enough to referee. He's not fit to referee because the way they were doing this, he should have been booking a few of them players. Ramsdale taking his time over kicks. That should have been pulled up. But no, that happened from the first minute, from the get-go, all the way through the game. Nothing done. The referee, in my opinion, was far too weak in that game. He could have took control of that game, but he didn't. And he should have took control of that game. And remember, this is a referee who was shoved by Mitrovic, and he sent Mitrovic off. He sent off the manager that day against Man United. And this referee at the time looked strong, but yesterday he looked absolutely weak as a kitten. And I'll tell you now, he is not fit to referee. I'll hope he never referees another one of our games this season. I do not want to see him. I mean, it was absolutely disgusting. I mean, Jesus, let's give you his example. Cher goes in. Yes, his arm's a bit high. Now, when you see it on the replay, he doesn't even go anywhere near Jesus' face. It's at the top of his shoulder. But Jesus goes down and screams, rolling around as if he's just been hit in the face, which he hadn't been. It was at the top of the shoulder. Disgraceful play from Jesus. This referee, as I say, got a lot of things wrong yesterday. Okay, fair enough, we can say the penalty. But, there was other parts of the game, and it's just the referee just was not good enough at all. I'm just going to go through some comments.
Just before you do that, I'd just like to say a couple of things. I thought that Arsenal were throwing themselves around a bit. I mean, Jesus with that challenge from Cher, you thought he was like a cat who's had his tail trodden on. But the only other thing, the ref needs to be strong on the time wasting, which he wasn't, which means that you keep doing it until you're stopped. The only other thing I would say is that when we do it's game management, when anyone else does it, it's time wasting. And I'm sure every team thinks the same. but but
the thing is, Roly, everybody slates us for it, and then but then they'll say about Arsenal, "Oh no, it's just game management."
Yeah,
it's time
when
wasting
we
from
do
us.
it's game management. When everybody else does it, it's time wasting, and I think that's the attitude of every supporter. But I mean, it's just ridiculous the goal kicks they got in the first half, in the first sort of 5 minutes, and it's taking about 8 hours to take each one. It was. I mean, the ref was a disgrace. I don't think he is the reason we lost, but
No.
he was a disgrace.
Alan says the way VAR works is they do a coin flip. They
A
do
coin
it to
flip
favour
would
the
be
big
quicker.
six. Yeah. Bia says they didn't look at the Darwin Núñez diver scrutiny. No.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. Great point, Bia.
And I
Gary
wonder
D
why
says
people think
question.
it's all VAR's crooked. They don't look at that, whilst they look at other things. I mean, yeah.
Gary D says question is, do they not have a zoom option on the camera? They use in football. It seems not. Do you know, I don't get this because I've got all the technology. Why don't we use the zoom in? You know? Miss Longstaff says, Craig, yeah, absolutely. Andrew says, Bruno shite without Longstaff makes you think who is more important, Bruno first on the team sheet. With no competition, it's not healthy in my opinion.
I don't think he was shite, but he wasn't as... He had to play a different role. I think the problem we've got is not so much Bruno's, that we haven't got an adequate replacement for Longstaff for instances when he's injured. We haven't got anyone, and I think that's why there's the talk about McTominay, because he can play that role, so that when Longstaff is injured, he could come in and do that job.
Yeah. Craig says, missed Longstaff. I'd have started Isak through the middle to bring others into play. Jorginho played us like a violin. Every time we caught him, he fell for a free kick. Our selection cost us. Do you know what it is? I look at that now, Craig, and I watched it yesterday, and I thought, you know what? It maybe would have been better if Wilson was on the bench. And I'm not saying that in a nasty way about Wilson, but I think Wilson coming off the bench as an impact player is being much better, in my opinion, than a Wilson who starts. Yes, it's fair enough when we've got 3 games in a week and we've started Wilson in the midweek game. That's fair enough. But I think Wilson coming off the bench for me has looked better than a Wilson starting. In all honesty, yes, against Everton, he got 2 goals, but come on, they're a poor side, Everton. We know that. But you know, I totally agree with you. Maybe it did, but you know. But another one is, when we brought substitutes on, we brought Miggy on for Murphy. Now, in my opinion, I would have rather have not brought Miggy on, and I would have rather have brought Gordon on. Gordon's got that pace about him, and I would rather have had Gordon on in front of Trippier on the right to burst his pace, because that was before, obviously, it was still when it was 1-0. Who knows? But, you know, that's just my opinion.
I mean, I'm of sort of the opinion that I would have started Isaac down the middle, because the way he plays, he creates holes in the defence, because he won't just stay in the middle. He'll go wide. He'll come back, and the centre halves will have to sort of watch him. I think he causes more trouble because he's a better all-round footballer than Wilson. And it's good to be able to play them for 30 minutes together, so that you then have you either start with one or the other, because the centre half gets used to one, then the other comes on, and they've got a totally different question to answer. When they're both starting together, the question's the same all game. You don't have a radical change because we haven't got another striker that we can bring on to change things up. I thought ASM looked good when he came on. I think the problem you have with ASM when he comes on is, if most of the play's been going down the right, it's very hard for the team mentally to switch the play to the left as often. So he doesn't see the ball as much. And I thought he looked quite effective. Got into some good areas, got some good... again, his decision-making is where it should be. He had a good shot. He knows when to pass rather than to take another player on. The lad's improving. It had been interesting if he'd come on a little bit earlier. But it's a tough loss, because I don't think they were much better than us. I think 2-0 flattered them. But
I think
they got the luck The other luck thing, we hit the post twice and the ball never came back to one of our players. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those days. I'm
Yeah.
not too worried because Leeds are in a situation where they have to win. They've got 3 games less. They've got 3 hard games. They're at home to us. They're away at West Ham, and they're home to Spurs. And need to get at least 1 point, 1 win from that, because draws. If they're not going to win all 3 of those games, and a draw in each of them might not be enough.
I mean, Bia says it comes back to what is VAR for? Getting everything perfect or clearing obvious errors. Therefore, has to be a penalty. I see where you come from, Bia, but
Yeah.
if it's City's leg first, it's not a penalty because it goes off leg, then it's leg to arm, and it's
Yeah,
I mean, Craig says
the biggest
we didn't
problem
get the ball quick enough after the first 15.
Yeah, I mean that's partly to do with Arsenal because they did play as well. Well, I think the other thing you got to remember is that Arsenal came to win as well as us, so you can't expect them to lay down and let us walk all over them.
Alan says we miss chances, can't do that against top teams. We've been here before, missing chances against top teams. If you don't get it, you don't get away with it. Absolutely, Alan. You're absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
Even Craig says that. Andrew says the ref didn't referee. His job needs wages docked. Absolutely. Craig says, why do the refs keep stopping the game when players go down? They're only meant to be for head injuries. Yeah, absolutely. Craig says, how did the keeper get handed the ball after the pen was reversed? We had the ball when the ref blew, not them. Yeah, he gave them a drop ball, didn't he? It's a strange one. It is strange, that, Craig.
Yeah, I don't know the rules behind that, but it should be at least a contested drop ball because it's not like it was for a head injury.
Yeah. Alan says, for me, Arsenal don't deserve to win the league just for their antics. Don't worry, Alan. They're not winning the league. City's won it. City will win it. The only problem is City's probably a bit pissed off with us because they were expecting us to either beat Arsenal or at least draw with them because City wanted to play a weekend team against Everton next week, but they can't now because they're in the middle of 2 games with Real Madrid.
Yeah,
Alan says the referee's a Sunderland fan. Paul says Bruno needs to stop doing them spins. I think he did it 3 times yesterday and not one came off. Yeah, true there. Craig says Wilson is great at scoring, but he doesn't run channels like Isak. Well, nor does he find the pockets of space to exploit like Isak. To be fair, I thought, Wilson weren't the greatest, but he didn't really get a lot of the ball. Same as Isak, he was starved a lot of the ball. When Isak did do his job, he looked very good at it, and he did put Arsenal under a lot of pressure. I think, but I think go back to Saturday. Once Saturday comes, let's hope we put Isak through the middle and we play Wilson goes on the bench on Saturday. I think that may be the easier way, but we'll come to that later on the show. Craig says, as much as people are giving him a hard time, Gordon should have started left. Tell him to run right back all game. His pace would have terrified. Do you know what it is? Ben White, I just don't rate him as a right back. I really don't. And, the thing is, when Maxi come on, Ben White was under pressure. You could see that. Chip as, hi mate, hope you're well. He says, it was a penalty yesterday. There was no concrete yes or no. So for that reason, it's a pen. Well, that's what I'm saying, Chip, as the thing is, if it's not clear and obvious and they have to have a look at so many replays, then surely they've got to give the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, referee, you've got it, it's a penalty. Derek says, Miggy in front of Trips has worked well all season before his injury. Everyone's panicking. Eddie's right. Fine margins. Absolutely, Derek. Thing is, though, we'll move on from this game. And I know Eddie's not happy about things like we're not taking with chances and he thinks we could have done better with the defending as well. He says it's not the way we defend. If it wasn't for Pope in that first half, it could have been 3 or 4 by half time and then, would have definitely been game over. But Pope kept us in that game with a series of magnificent saves, by the way, because his shot stop was brilliant. His footwork's still a lot to be desired for. That one when he kicked out and it just went past Saka. If that had gone to Saka, that would have been the back of the net. But his shot stopping absolutely terrific yesterday.
I mean, you can
Gary
say the
says
same
race
about. So you can say the same about Ramsdale because he made 3 or 4 top-notch saves in the game.
Every time Ramsdale plays against us, he always ups his game. He did it for Bournemouth, he did it for Sheffield United, he does it for Arsenal. He always has a blinder against Newcastle every time.
When people say that Arsenal could have been 3 or 4 up at half time, but we could have been 3 or 4 up at half time ourselves. Because we had Willock should have scored a great save for Ramsdale. Then you had the Shah header. We hit the post twice.
Yeah.
It swings and roundabouts. Ramsdale had a good game. Pope had a good game. If neither of them had a good game, it could have been 4-4, 5-5. I think we actually had more shots on target. So if they both had nightmares, it would have been 6-5. Yeah, but they're paid to make the saves that they did, and they did it well. Pope couldn't do it. So
race for the top 4 is far from over. No, it's not.
What?
I mean, the thing is, we've got to get 6 points, Gary. That's the thing. Liverpool are 7 behind us in goal difference wise. They're plus 25, we're plus 32. Thing is, we've got to go out there now, and we've got to go and get 6 points. We've got games that we can get the 6 points out. We've got Leeds, we've got Brighton, we've got Leicester, and then Chelsea. So out of them 4 games, we just need 6 points. And there are 6 points there if we take our chances and win the games. Derek says, well said, Alan, they took their chances. We didn't, absolutely. Jerry Kangumba says, yes, it was a penalty. Tony Mike Riley, the referee, job to go to the VAR screens, gave Newcastle United a penalty. Okay. So he says it was a penalty. Craig says, this was similar to the Villa game. The simple way would have worked. When it's not working, we don't play balls over the top or into the channels and push forward to use our pace. Got to mix it up. Absolutely spot on, Craig. You've got to, because the thing is, although the performance wasn't as bad as Villa, I mean, the Villa performance was just the worst of the season. But until that penalty decision, we were in the ascendancy of winning that game. But that, as Roly quite rightly pointed out earlier on, that team talk that Arteta had with his team just changed things about in that team talk, and it worked. Alan says, we will get our revenge next season, make no mistakes about that. Absolutely, we definitely will. Bruno's not the same player without Sean Longstaff, or Sean Yo, says Derek. Do you know what it is? I mean, yeah, Longstaff's been a miss, and, but we've got to cope with that now, and we just got to do things better. But, I mean, we could change things about what we could do. Well, I don't know. Could we? Well, it would be, but you'd have to bring Lascelles back into the team, unfortunately. Would be to move Cher as a defensive midfielder, because he can do that job. He has played there before.
Sure.
And then you push Lascelles into centre-back, or you bring...
Lascelles is out for the season.
Lascelles is. Oh, yes, yeah. He's out, isn't he? Yes, he is. Shit, so we haven't got a centre-half, have we? That's got a right foot, have we? Well, Botman can play with both feet, apparently, but... so no, that wouldn't work. So we couldn't push Cher up then. So we haven't got a right-footed centre-back. They're all left-footers, aren't they? Because we've got Dummett, who's left-footed. Burns left-footed. I mean, they say Botman can play with both feet, but I've never really seen Botman use his right foot. I've seen him use more his left foot than his right foot. So I'm not 100% sure on that one. But again, we just need to add something in there in that midfield just to give a bit of steel. And but yesterday, like I say, we were there. But I think once that second goal went in, that killed the game. The Cher own goal. He just stuck his foot out. It's just one of those instinctive stick your foot out. But the unfortunate one is he toe poked it into the back of the net. Could you say Pope has a fault at the near post? You're just nitpicking then if you do. But I think, it was just they got a run and they got into the box, and Martinelli, we just didn't close them down quick enough.
Just a quick one, Tony. They've just been showing the on Ref Watch, they've been showing the penalty decision again,
Oh,
and
okay, yeah.
they said, "Oh, his shorts move," but then when you look at it, when he's bringing his arm down, that could have been the reason that his shorts moved, not the ball hitting it, because
No,
his
that's
arm
it.
was so close to his shorts. It could have been that actually moved the shorts, and they've gone by the shorts.
Yeah.
Because it slowed it down, and thinking, well, the more they showed it several times, and you see the shorts moving coincides with his arm coming down. So it could it's inconclusive. My first thought that, yeah, it was hit his thigh first, but they said, oh, they're saying you see his shorts move because the ball hits it, but when they showed it again, I thought, no, his arms, it coincides with his arm movement.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones that they probably should have gone with the on-field advantage, because it's not a clear and obvious rick. Anyway, I digress.
I mean, Alan says Newcastle should sign Madison. Yeah, we should do. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things in midfield, I think their priority is going to be a defensive midfielder in the Sean Longstaff mould, because we've seen in 2 big games when Sean hasn't played how Bruno's effectiveness has dropped, and it's been proved we have no replacement for or backup for Sean Longstaff. No one else that can play that role, so we really miss him when he's not playing. So I think that will be one of the high priorities. And as I said before, that's why they were interested in McTominay. He's not the greatest of players. He's not that sexy midfielder that everybody wants, but he can do that Sean Longstaff role. And he's of a similar ability. So they could. You look how Wilson has improved since Isaac started playing regularly. And they say iron sharpens iron. So having both of them in the squad will probably improve both of them as well. So I mean, I'd love to have Madison, and I'm sure he's high up on the wish list for the transfers. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I think a lot will depend on who finishes where at the end of the season. If we make Champions League and say Tottenham don't actually qualify for Europe, which is a possibility on both cases, is he really going to want to go to Tottenham?
Yeah. Well, depends where Tottenham are in the league at the end of the season. Yeah. Certainly won't be Champions League, that's for sure. Alan says, I hope Maxi is not sold, though. I thought he was good for the short time he was on the pitch. I thought Maxi played all right when he came on. He was absolutely fine. He just needed the minutes. Still favourites for the top 3 after Man U getting beat. Just look at this weekend as a free hit. Absolutely, Alan. You know, we can go to Leeds. We can beat Leeds. I've seen people put out there that will be a draw to Leeds. And I'm like, I know Leeds are fighting for survival, but I'm sorry. Allardyce's football is absolutely diabolical. That is why when he first came to Newcastle, I started sitting in level 7 because I saw the ball more in level 7 than I did in ground level. So Allardyce's football isn't going to be pretty, and Leeds are going to have to come out and play because they're going to have to win games. Because I tell you now, I think Forest will beat Southampton tonight because Forest at home are a different animal, and with that home crowd behind them tonight, I think that will be their key. And if you look at Nottingham Forest, out of all the other teams that are around that area, like Everton, like Southampton, like Leeds. Now, if you look at Southampton, Nottingham Forest, their crowd have never once gone against the team or got angry or lost the plot like other teams have, likes of Leeds, likes of Everton, likes of Southampton. It's never been toxic. And that is why Nottingham Forest have got such a good, that's why they're good side at home, because they know the fans are right behind them. And I think Nottingham Forest win tonight, that pushes Leeds into the relegation zone, and that puts massive pressure on Leeds, because now on Saturday, that makes that game where Leeds are going to come out and play. And that might just play right into our hands if they come out and play, because as long as we're on our A game, which I believe we will be, we can exploit them. And I tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me if we smashed them 4-0 on Saturday. It really wouldn't, because Leeds will have to play. It's no good them sitting back holding out for a draw, because draws are not what you need at this stage of the season.
Yeah, a draw might
in
not
some
be...
ways, you're hoping Leeds will come out and try and play football, then we can exploit it.
I mean, a draw is not good. Leeds need to win at least one game in their last 3 and get a point. They need 4 points. If Forest win, they definitely need 4 points, because they need, though they've got a better goal difference than Forest, it's not that much better. So they can't be. Well, that's why they're treating the 2-1 defeat to Man City as a win, because it still kept them a goal difference advantage over Forest. But you don't want to be counting on goal difference. So they play us at home, then they go to West Ham, who played superbly against Man United, and then they're at home to Tottenham. They need to win one of those games. So they can't really afford to park the bus against us, because the sooner you get the win, the less pressure is on you. I mean, they escaped relegation by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah.
So they really do need to win the game against us. So they can't really sit back, because the problem they've got is to sit back and we score. It's so hard to change from a defensive mindset to an attacking one. We've seen that in the past when we've been defending in relegation battles. Then we go 1-0 down. Then you've got to come out and play when your whole game plan was to defend. And I think we've got the tools, and I think we've got people playing well enough that we can get a fast start against and get a goal up. Then they've got to come out and play, because the last thing they want to do is lose, especially if Forest get a win tonight. So I'm expecting them to try. What we need them to do is what they don't want to do is have to come out and play us.
Thing is, though, Roly, you look at that game. Allardyce is only going to have a week's training with him, so he's got to get these ready. And I don't like these lunchtime kickoffs, because we've never played well on these lunchtime kickoffs. So I'm hoping we break that mold on Saturday. Last year we got our second win of the season against Leeds at Ellen Road when they had Bielsa as a manager. And we managed to win it 1-0, Shelby free kick at the time. But at the time that was a hard-fought game, and we had our backs to the wall. But that was a different Leeds side under Bielsa.
The other thing you've got to remember is we don't do well on early kickoffs, but we hadn't won a game in our Saudi strip until we played Everton.
Yes, exactly. Alan says, lads, would you still sign Kieran Tierney in the summer? Right, Alan. Look, I think Tierney's a good left back. He really is. He's a cracking left back. The only problem that concerns me is his injury record. But if we get Champions League, I would much rather we were all over Alex Grimaldo, who's on a free transfer in the summer. Let's get into that one and let's try and get him through the door, because Tierney is good, but I'm just a bit concerned by the injury record. Just going to quickly nip through some comments. Yes or no for you?
His injury record has been pretty good apart from the last season or so.
Yeah. Derek says, if that pen had been a war against us, we'd be going ballistic about far. That's true enough, Derek, yeah. Craig says, I'm foreman for Longstaff. He's been class, and that challenge could have had him out for the season. VAR and the ref have seriously let him and Newcastle down, plus all the other teams fighting relegation. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they showed the West Ham one, the penalty. He moves his arm and punches it. It comes off his knuckle. And he moved his arm to get it there. It's a clear penalty. Why it wasn't given? Oh, yeah, of course. It was Manchester United playing, so you can't give one of the big six a penalty against them.
Yeah. Aditya says, hey, Tony, what's your take on the penalty decision? Similar thing happened in West Ham Tottenham game to Cresswell and penalty was overturned. It's one of them. If it has hit the leg first, then it's not a penalty. I mean, you look at it and you think, is it hitting the leg first? Is it hitting the arm first? But the more you look at it, the more you think it's hitting the leg first. And I think it's just your mind starts playing that thing as to say, actually, no, it's hit the leg first.
But I mean,
who knows? But at the end of the day, we have to move on from that penalty, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. I must admit, when I saw it live, I thought it was the replay. I thought it hit the leg first, and then everyone said, "Oh, it must have hit the leg first because his shorts moved." And they're showing it again today, and it looks like it's his arm coming down that moves the leg of the shorts, rather than the ball hitting it.
Yeah,
it's a really close call, and if it's a close call, they should have stayed with the on-field decision. But it's gone. We'll bounce back ability will kick in. The last time we got beat, we went on a winning run. So why not this time?
Yeah. Craig says, how far away is Kraft? I think he's out for the season, Craig. I don't think we'll see him again this season. Derek says Shaw hasn't got the engine to do a show. True. Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, that's it. He hasn't, has he? Yeah, it's just a shame we did not get a DM in the winter window.
So the Sky Sports have been putting up a thing about time wasting. Newcastle are nowhere near the top on anything. Like most bookings for time wasting, Pope's got 2 and Martinez has got 5.
Well, there you go. Alan says Newcastle could send Ben White. No, thank you. We don't want Ben White.
We're good at right back.
He can play right centre back, says Craig. Yeah,
we want
to tap in. Yeah. Morning, Mason. Hope you're well.
Morning, Mason.
Alan says it's a pen for me, and if we scored, it would have been a different game. It would have been, Savage for DM for me, says Alan. Yeah, why not? We'll find out in the summer. Depends. Let's see where we finish first. I know we're all thinking it's going to be top 4, but let's just wait. Let's get these points first, and then we can look at it and see. Yes, we're definitely Champions League, but we're in the best position at the moment, so let's not. Lord Mason says, I think the summer will be busy with a few of the old red regime players getting off the books, and hopefully we get decent young backups, replacements. That's what we need. That's absolutely spot on. You're absolutely spot on, Mason. I think it will be a busy summer. I think it's now time to get Ashby on the bench. Give him some minutes because I'm worried about Trippier in the rest of the season. Yeah, Trippier's not getting younger. He's 33 this year. And,
I think Ashby's probably in the same situation that Gordon's in that, well, Ashby, when he came, had a hamstring injury, so he didn't train for a few weeks. Now he's getting used to getting that fitness up because he's fit to play, but he's not fit enough for Eddie. And I think Gordon's in a similar sort of thing. And I think we're finding that when we bring players in, they're not fit enough to play our game. It takes some time to get there. And that's why it was so good that we got Botman in at the beginning of pre-season to have the time to get up to that fitness. When you play players in the middle, buy players in the middle of the season, you found that with Gordon, I think Ashby's the same, is that they're fit, but not to play with the intensity that we play at. You've got to remember Eddie's saying that intensity is our identity. So you've got to be super fit. I mean, that's how teams like West Ham and Southampton actually slaughter them because Everton, because we could keep going at that level for 90 minutes and they can't.
Yeah, Alan says, Leeds crap. Only concern is the big Sam bounce at home, but still think we'll beat them. Yeah, I think we'll beat them.
I mean, the thing is, you get the new manager bounce, but the problem with that is that old habits die hard. So they're still going to make all these defensive wrecks. We've just got to make sure that we capitalise on them.
Craig says, could ESM play a similar role to what Wilson starts 1 and 2 or gets 30 minutes off the bench other games? This would solve his injury problems and get the best out of Nate Wilson. Would ESM accept this? That's a very good shout, Craig. And the thing is, maybe it might be a thing that might have to happen, and who knows? And if ESM says, well, I don't do that, I want to be starting every game, well, fortunately, he's going to have to move on. But no, that is a great shout, Craig. That is a great shout. And I mean, I saw an interview yesterday on PD Proudlock's fan reaction after the game, and John Sinclair's on about he says, I know it'll probably not prove popular, but he would sell Miggy in the summer, he says, because Miggy's spent at this club now. He's not good enough now because he's had his burst in the season, and he says, but he's not the player to take you through in the Champions League. So John Sinclair thinks Miggy should be sold in the summer, and I'm like, I don't think so, because he'd still be an impact sub, in my opinion.
But he's one of the people that said that Murphy and Longstaff weren't the players to get us into the Champions League, and it's looking that they're proving him wrong.
Yeah. Craig says, we need our heads screwed on the last 4. Go hard, but beware. Absolutely, Craig. Absolutely, mate.
I wouldn't say our heads weren't screwed on yesterday. It's just one of those games that just didn't go our way. We could have quite easily have won that game 2-0 as lose it.
He says they'll play it hard, play it tight. It's a good point for them, but look what they did at St James's. Yeah, what they did at St James's was absolutely woeful. I mean, it was just disgusting that day. That was the worst part of football that you see. But not only that, though, Craig, the thing is, that was a day Longstaff should have buried the ball in the back of the net, really, and a few other players should have scored. But do you know what? That game's gone. It's a totally different game Saturday. Yes, the fans are going to be up for it because Fat Sam's there now. But the thing is, we need to go up there and just ram the result back down that man's throat, because that man I cannot stand. I did not want him as manager at Newcastle United. So pleased when he got sacked, because he's just an awful manager in my opinion. And he thinks he's got such a big ego that he thinks he's better than likes of Pep, Arteta and Guardiola. It's just like, yeah, whatever. Mason says, I should have said concerned, not worried. Apologies. No, that's fine, mate. That's fine. Hi, Tony and Roly says, trolls. Hi, trolls.
Hi, trolls.
Alan says, we always come out bouncing after a defeat. Bring on Leeds. Absolutely, Alan.
Yeah.
And the players will work on training this week and they'll be spot on again. Mm-hmm. Anthony Gordon should leave this summer. I don't think he'll leave.
That's not happening.
He's going to get a full pre-season, then we'll see where he goes from there.
You got to remember that he was playing at Everton, a rubbish team. He had to unlearn all the crap they taught him. Then he has to get Eddie Howe fit, and then he's got to force his way into the first team. I mean,
I think once he gets a full pre-season,
he's not been too bad when he's come on. He was lively, and there's a couple of times when we lost the ball yesterday, and you think, the Arsenal players got it, and he nipped it in front of them to win it back.
Yeah.
He's got to get used to the team. He wasn't brought as a superstar to like Bruno was, someone that's going to come in relatively quickly and dictate games. He is, in some respects, a development project. He's only 21. He's good enough to start in a lot of teams in the league. At the moment, it's not good enough to start in our team because we are a very, very good team. But you'll see him develop and improve. Look at the players that people were saying get rid of early in the season, like Longstaff and Murphy. They've become really important players in the starting 11. There's no reason Gordon can't do the same.
Yeah. I've got 31 watching. Can we smash those likes? That'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. So if you can smash those likes, that'd be great. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then please hit that subscribe as well. And that bell notification will tell you when I'm live, have a pre-record or upcoming shows. Derek says to Alan Niddle, left back, Alex Grimaldo, cheap, proven and brilliant. Cheap Derek, because he's on a free in the summer, mate. Absolutely, we should be all over that. Mason says, I'm impressed with Teeny when he come on yesterday. Yeah, he looked okay when he come on yesterday. I'm not saying Teeny's a bad player. I just think his injury record. Troll says, Dubravka saying he's shocked getting abuse. Well, there are probably some who go too far, but other abuse is deserved, as he ran as soon as Pope came in. So bye-bye for me. I think Dubravka goes in the summer, in all honesty. Craig says they showed a close-up of Sky after match, and you see hits the thigh, leg, and moves. That's fair enough. Trolls, ASM, shown his worth yesterday, and long may it continue. Absolutely, Trolls. I agree, Derek. Tierney is injury prone. It says you guys can analyse Leeds well because some people were used to relegation battles. We've been down there ourselves. We know what it's like. It's not nice, and I tell you what, we know what it's like as fans to be down there. We've done it. We should never have been in them positions in the first place, but we were. And I still see Rafa was brought in 2 weeks too late at the time.
Yeah.
If he was brought in 2 weeks sooner, we would have stayed up then. And because yesterday was it was 6 years yesterday that we won the championship when we beat Barnsley at home. So we lifted the championship trophy. Alan says the original 6 are still getting all the decisions going their way. As Roly said, that was definitely a nailed-on penalty against Man United. How was that refused? Talk about frustration. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, West Ham should have had a penalty against Man United yesterday. Disgusting.
Absolutely.
Derek says, yet another advert for the need to separate ball and play, timekeeper, clock so the whole crowd can see. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I listened to what Malcolm MacDonald said yesterday, and he's absolutely spot on. He says, if you look at all the substitutions that took place, he says, I think there was 6 substitutions between the two sides, or 8. He says, but if you look at them, he says, you talk about 30 seconds per substitution. So he says, if you want to put that, he says, where's the time for that added on? He says, surely there should have been more than 6 minutes added on, that's for sure. Alan says, our team will be improved during the summer. Remember, last year, this month, beating them 2-0, added 4 equal players to Newcastle. Just watch us get revenge. Absolutely, Alan. The thing is, we've come a long way in 12 months, and that's what people have got to understand. Aditya says, what do you make of fans blaming Arsenal for time wasting? Were they doing too much shithousery? They were just making a lot of time wasting. But the thing is, we get it all the time. Oh, we're time wasting, especially off like Jurgen Klopp. Oh, Newcastle time waste. We're time waste.
Arteta did it when we went down to Arsenal as well.
Yeah,
he was complaining about our time wasting, but it was from the 3rd or 4th minute. They're taking forever, goal kicks and everything. But yeah, it's
Trolls thinks ESM would accept that being a bit part player.
Yeah, I think he would, because I think he appreciates what we're trying to do. He appreciates his role, and he knows it's up to him to adapt his game to get the starts, and he's doing it. He loves the city. He's in no hurry to move. It's all a case of whether the club want to keep him, which I think they do, unless a silly offer comes in for him.
Mason says John Sinclair probably want him at Man United. Derek says, by the way, I think Botman is starting to believe his own publicity. His performances, or especially distribution, are getting poorer. Didn't have the best of times, did he, yesterday? Yeah,
and again, I think part of that was, let's say, the Sean Longstaff effect, because we didn't have as much protection for the back four as we normally do. We're at the end of the season, and I think players, especially the ones that have played pretty much every game this season, they're starting to get mentally tired.
Yeah,
they know that they almost achieved what they want to, but they've still got games, and the way the games have been this season with that stupid break for the World Cup. If we hadn't had that World Cup break, I think things would have been a lot better. And I think going through a week where you have 3 games in a week, you have a week's break, I think that is mentally tiring, especially if you're playing every game, which they have been doing. Again, you're going to have subpar games. Every player has it. Is he believing his own hype? Maybe, but he's still a bloody good player.
Absolutely. Craig says Almiron, our only left-footed winger. Insanity to sell him. Absolutely, Craig. I've always wanted Almiron on the left. To be fair, because Almiron, if you look at his stats in the US and his stats for Paraguay, he's devastating from the left. I know Eddie's got him into this inverted winger role, but I'd love to see Almiron have a stint on the left because I tell you what, he'd rip a lot of these teams defenders new ear holes. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Gary says, I would disagree with Mr. Sinclair on that one, lads. Absolutely, Gary. I totally disagree with him as well. I don't think selling Miggy's the right, and especially he's just saying new deal. So why are we going to sell him? Why give him a new deal if we're going to sell him in the summer? I don't get that one.
We're not trying to rip the squad apart. We're trying to improve it. I've been saying all season that other players we need to move on before you start looking at the likes of Miggy and Murphy and ASM. We want to improve the squad, not weaken it.
Alan says we need Almiron as a squad player. He's brilliant before he got injured.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gary says, I smashed the like for you, Tony, mate. Cheers, thank you very much. Yeah, if you do smash the likes, that'd be great. Thank you very much indeed, guys and girls. David says, I got timed out this morning on TalkSport YouTube for saying Liverpool fans were a disgrace in regards to booing the anthem. I don't get that. I mean, that's just disgusting, David, because, I mean, it was absolutely atrocious, that.
Yeah.
Yes, I know they've got some agenda against the UK government and that over what Thatcher did to them in the 80s, but, you know, come on, it's your national anthem.
Ago.
Look, there's countries abroad where they have lots of troubles, lots of civil wars, things like that. You know, that, but you see the fans in the stadiums and they're singing their national anthem with pride, even though, you know, even though they've got that much trouble in their countries, but they'll sing their national anthem with pride. It's just beggars belief. But at least our fans sang the national anthem with a whole lot of pride yesterday. And I'll tell you what, well done to the Newcastle fans for that. That was absolutely brilliant. And not just that, all the English players were singing it as well from both teams. Gary says, we had 15 years of relegation dogfights under the fat controller, lads. Absolutely.
Just going back to that national anthem thing, I saw a thread about that, and the Liverpool fans saying that they should get rid of Jordan Henderson because he was singing the national anthem. Well, I'm not a fan of Henderson, but I mean that's just ridiculous. I mean, people may be upset about what Thatcher did to Liverpool, which is fair enough, but that was 4 decades ago.
Yeah.
A lot of people weren't even born when that happened. But they have no pride in the country.
Billy's in the house. Hi, Billy. Hope you're well.
Hi, Billy.
He says it's not Big Six bias now. He says all about getting Liverpool in the top 4 at our expense. Do you know what, Billy? You're absolutely spot on, mate. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's weird how Liverpool are getting a lot of decisions for them at the minute and how they're on this run, you know, of the 6 consecutive wins they've had now. I just hope, Billy, we just get the 6 points that we need and then it'll be a fight between Man U and Liverpool. And I would absolutely laugh my head off if Man U lose out in the top 4. I really would. You know, because they are bottling it, Man United, if you look at them. I mean, De Gea is not a great goalkeeper. Just a shame he didn't play like that against us in the final, innit? Yeah. But I exactly see what you mean, though, Billy. That they don't want us in that top 4. That's the thing, Billy. They don't even want Brighton up there, to be fair. But
it's like a couple of seasons ago, they didn't want West Ham in there.
Yeah, exactly. So
I expect Liverpool to win their remaining 3 games, but I'm hoping that they have a Steven Gerrard moment.
Yes, let's hope, Roly. Could well do, couldn't they? You know, so who knows? I fear we'll only go for mediocre players this summer. I hope not, but the way Howe has been speaking about it makes me think, look, Eddie Howe is playing the media. He's not going to go to the media and say, oh, by the way, I want to sign Victor Osimhen, or I want to sign Savic, or I want to sign Diaby. He's not going to put that out there to the media because one, you're telling the media who you want to sign. Two, you're then telling your rivals who you want to sign. So the best way to do it is just play things down, and that's a good thing about Eddie Howe. If we get Champions League, trolls, and I'm only saying if we get it because I know we will get it, but I'm saying if we do get it because I don't want to say yes, it's definite until we've got the till it's mathematically definite. But we get Champions League, we will be buying. We will have to buy elite players in the summer, and I will. You can see that happening. David says there should have been about 10 minutes added on for the wasting of the. Yeah, absolutely. Bia says, when is it the big 6 game management? When it's Newcastle, it's dark arts. Exactly, Bia. You're absolutely spot on with that one.
One
says,
team's saying management is another team's dark arts.
Alan says, I don't get all decisions. Top 6, penalty given an injury time for Brighton last week against Man U. Yeah, they couldn't deny that one, though, could they? Not when he's waffling his arms in the air. Look, sure.
But then again, there's that penalty that that wasn't given with Maguire with his arm out.
Yeah.
It was before, I forget who it was against.
Well, it was Stonewall, that though, yeah. Almiron is naturally a central attacking midfield, absolutely, David. But he does play on the left for Paraguay, but comes in over. And he done the same for Atlanta in the MLS. He just drifted out from the left and comes in. Derek says Miggy's been devastating on the right. Yeah, he has, Derek. Yeah. He has, yeah. I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm just saying I would like to see a stint where Miggy's put on the left, that's all. Just break the bank for Rice. He won't mind playing second fiddle to Sean Yor, says Derek. I tell you what, if you haven't seen the video, there's a great video out there of Declan Rice, and absolutely fantastic. What a character that player is. I mean, there was a kid, he was crying about Declan Rice or something, and Declan Rice comes along and puts his phone down on the stand, and he says, "What are you crying for?" And he gives him a hug, and then he says, "Oh, I was meant to give this shirt to Rashford," but he says, "You can have it." He says, "I can give him a spare one from the dressing room," and give it to the kid, you know. And I thought that's really, really good. That's brilliant, you know, to see.
He does come across as a decent guy.
There's been a lot of teams recently which have been, you know, they've not been great. I mean, you look at the Leeds United players when they were coming through the airport and that young lad's waving at them and not one of them acknowledged them. Then Leeds put out a statement saying, "Oh, everybody's sorry about it," and they'll send them a signed shirt and all this. And say, well, yeah, but it shouldn't be like that. You know, acknowledge your fans. The same with Arsenal, where that young girl's a mascot and they sign the shirt. The only one who actually does see anything to her is Saka. The rest of them, Martin Odegaard and all that, just sign the shirt and walk off. It's like, you know, come on, you know, these people are coming to pay your wages. We come into your club where you support us, where you customers, we're paying to watch you, and you know, at least at least at Newcastle, we don't have that environment where the players ignore, win, lose or draw. They'll interact with the fans anytime. It's just absolutely brilliant. But yeah, well done to Declan Rice on that one, by the way. Alan says Thatcher did it everywhere, not just the skip rats. Exactly. Derek says Scouts shouldn't have been given the bank holiday. Nothing to do with the national anthem. Exactly, Alan. It's nothing to do with the national anthem, mate. Arteta is a moron, says Trolls. Just read. He said we are difficult and nasty and unpleasant. Hate this. I found out. Yeah, I don't particularly like Arteta. I don't go a lot on him. Trolls says we are in Europe no matter what. Absolutely.
Yep.
Alan says Sam Allardyce needs to get out of football and concentrate on his mobility scooter. Craig says, I don't see us buying £100 million players, but I'd be disappointed if we did. Ashworth wouldn't be doing his job. I think we'd be paying 40 million-ish, then maybe a bit more for a special player, i.e. Isak available. I see where you come from, Craig. Absolutely.
I think that's going to be the plan. Because though we've got funds, we're still restrained by FFP. Once we get our new deal in place, that eases it. But we'll need to, I think we really need to have a couple of seasons in the Champions League before we can really start spending, because we can redo deals. We'll be getting rid of Castori in a season or two, and then we can sign a really big deal with Adidas or someone like that and have a big deal. And and again, it's justification. Well, we're playing Champions League regularly, so we can justify it. And I'm sure at some point in the deal that they're signing with this Middle East company, that there is, I'm sure they'll put incentive clauses in there. So the sponsorship is, say, 25 million a year. But if, let's say, obviously, if we qualify for the Champions League, maybe there's a little bonus if we get out of the group stages of the Champions League. And then there'll be another bonus if we get through each round until, if we win it. I'm not saying we're going to, but there'll be a bonus for winning it as well. So that they've got the money in. I wouldn't be surprised if they are looking at a deal with Saudi again to be their official travel partner for the Champions League. And there'll be all sorts of things. And because we're where we are, we'll be able to justify having bigger sponsorship deals. We still got naming rights for the training ground. Like Man City have different sponsors for their training kit and their track suits and all the stuff. There's lots of deals to be done.
Mm-hmm. Gary says, I'll be over the moon if us and Manu got the top four. Got top four because they'll be the bin tippers cheated their way 2-3 points at Anfield against us. Yeah. Craig says we won't be breaking our wage structure for Rice. No, absolutely not.
Absolutely right.
I think he stays in London anyway.
Yeah,
we're only getting subs. Not talking about £100 million players at all. Big up Legend, says EK. Big up to you, mate.
We're going to go for £100 million players. I think that if we spend big on a player, it's going to be in the sort of ESAC range, sort of 60 millions, including add-ons. But when you look at the players that we bought for the 30, 40 million, you're looking at Botman, you're looking at Bruno, players that are very good now, but are going to develop into exceptional players. Don't forget, we're only 18 months into a 5-year project.
Yeah. Troll says, how many points would Liverpool have if no bias for at home? Yeah, that's a good point. Alan says, Liverpool's only good for one thing, the Eurovision Song Contest, not football. Derek says, well, they're good for the Beatles as well. Derek says, we need to sign up Brighton's Bloom Betting Company statisticians. They're still doing it without Ashworth. Craig says, we're looking at the Brighton model, but with backing for that little bit extra we are needed. Plus, we won't be Sunlight Man City at the moment. Plenty to sell on to play. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're looking at the Brighton model. That's why we picked the guy that set it up.
Alan says, of course, Roly, it's going to take a couple of seasons, and that's quick. But to get top players to come to here, it's only one defeat to the second best team in the country. Absolutely. Wayne says, hello, lads. Hi, Wayne. I hope you're well, mate. Not seen you for a little while. Exactly, says Craig. I see Manu got beat buzzing, says Wayne. Yeah, they did. They got beat 1-0, mate. And a howler from David De Gea again. Yeah. Even though Ten Hag says he still wants to keep him at the end of the season. So
please keep him.
Right. Well, look, we're going to go away from the Arsenal game now. And obviously we're looking at transfers here. And I mean, we're being linked with Rafinha, which, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad sign in my eyes because Rafinha is Premier League proven. There he is on screen. He's Premier League proven, this guy. And it's coming from a Spanish media that we have actually made an offer to Barcelona for Rafinha. But again, it's Spanish media. I normally take these foreign medias with a pinch of salt because we've seen it before where they've come out with stuff and it's not been true. I mean, you know, they're not the most reliable, a lot of these medias from abroad. So I still take it with a pinch of salt. But if we are in for him, I still say it's not a bad go because he's a decent player and he has done it in the Premier League. So yeah, if that happens, then that's great. But another one that's come out, and this one's been hanging around for a couple of weeks now, and it's this fella here. and his name is Arda Güler. He's from Fenerbahce, um, and he's 18 years of age. Turkish player, 5'9". He's left-footed. Um, he's valued at around 10.6 million euros. So not a lot of money for him. He started 8 games out of 17 he's played this season for Fenerbahce. I've just got something on my screen there. And he's been in Team of the Week twice. He's got 4 goals. And he's got 1 assist. Now, he's goals, 4 have come from his left feet, and he's won a penalty as well. Also, he's passing in his own half is 98% accurate, which is not bad for a youngster. But per game, his passing is 87% accurate per game. That's amazing for an 18-year-old. Yes, we know it's the Turkish league, and the Turkish league is a different league altogether to the Premier League. But not only are we looking at him, Barcelona also got their eye on him, and so have Ajax. I mean, he sounds like he's, he sounds like a decent player. But again, it's a one not just for the future, but it's a one for now, in my opinion. What do you make of that one, Roly?
Again, it's part of following that model that Ashworth built up at Brighton, getting the brightest young players that they can develop to be cracking first-team players. So I don't know much about the kid, but from the sounds of it, he is one for now and the future. And it's clear that under-21s, under-23s, under the previous regime, weren't fit for purpose. And that's why we lost Bobby Clark to Liverpool, because the club's youth setup was atrocious. We're changing that now. Mm-hmm. And getting in of his age it is great, especially if they are able to push for first team minutes, because for one thing is obviously it increases competition, and at 18 he doesn't count in the 25-man squad, so that's another win as well. So it could be an interesting one. Again, the price will have to be right. And I would look at young players, but you don't want to be paying 40 million for an 18-year-old unless he's the reincarnation of Messi.
Well, the report goes on to say that obviously Ajax and Barcelona are also interested. The report outlines there's a £4.4 million contract option that could be exploited this summer, with Güler needing to play another 462 minutes of senior football before the end of the season to avoid the clause. I mean, through his campaign so far, I mean, in the 2 seasons he's racked up 6 goals and 4 assists. I mean, that's not bad for a player. I mean, last season he only started 2 games out of 12 that he played in total, and was in Team of the Week once. But in that season, he got 3 goals and 3 assists. I mean, that's pretty decent considering he hasn't played a lot of games last season, and he's got that. But according to the Spanish media over the Rafinha talks as well, apparently, and again, this is quoting from Spanish media, who again, I don't know whether you believe the Spanish media or not, because I mean, but according to them, we are willing to offer Rafinha more than he's on at Barcelona, which I can't see it, to be honest. That's why I say I take a lot of these foreign journalists with a pinch of salt, because some of them are. The only one I do really trust a lot is Fabrizio Romano, because I think he is an absolute spot-on journalist, and he normally gets things right. He didn't get it right over Joe Pedro, because he said, here we go, and then Joe Pedro didn't come. But
and I think that's more because Isak became available.
Yeah, but that man, I think is, I prefer Fabrizio Romano, because at least we know what. But again, we're linked with this guy, Goulet. I think that would be a good move. I'm just going to go through some comments, Roly. Alan says, yeah, it takes time. Look at players Man City can sell, absolutely.
Yeah.
I prefer to go for Ruben Neves, says Biat. You know what? That's not a bad move. He's only got a year on his deal. Craig says, Rafinha's on 199 grand a week, plays on the left. We have several right-footed players who play on the left. Next. Diaby. That's who we want.
I mean, the thing about the comment about Ruben Neves, if this other kid's only 4.5 million, there's no reason why we couldn't get both.
Derek says the role Ashworth was utilising Bloom's US betting company to supply him with the stats on all the South American leagues. Yeah, good shout. Trolls, I'll take all the media with a pinch of salt, but exciting that if we did get Rafinha though. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. Alan says, correct, Tony. Italian media had us buying someone last week. That's it. That's the thing, Alan. I don't take notice of them. And if we do get linked with a player, I'll say it's a link, it's a rumour. I'll never go out there and say that this player's definitely signed. It's the same with the Bruno contract situation. Nothing's been released by the club officially. So until it's released by the club, he has not contracted, as far as I'm concerned. And I know people have gone out on videos and said, oh, he signed the contract and all this. Look, wait till the club announce it first and then come out and say, yes, he signed the contract. But don't just go out there and say, oh, yeah, he signed the contract, because what if something happened and it fell through and he didn't sign it? It makes you look silly. And that's why I do not come out and I will not put my neck on the line by saying this is happening, that's happening, because as we all know, football and things in general, things can just go pear-shaped in any walk of life. So, I'll never put my head on the chopping block that way. I will always say it's a link, and I'll always say it's a rumour, and I'll stress it's a rumour, unless that player is holding up a black and white shirt, or has got a black and white shirt on, and is holding a scarf above his head. So like of Anthony Gordon there, till I see a player standing like that in St James's Park, everything's a rumour, unless he's doing what Anthony Gordon's doing there, with the scarf around his neck and the black and white shirt on, posing for photographs. So that's what I always say. Now, just going to these comments. Troll says, if we buy Turkish kid, I hope we don't send him on loan, as we need him in pre-season. I don't think we will. I think he'd be one for the now, if he's especially playing at the top level in Turkey as well. I remember the last Turkish we had, I remember when we had Emre, what a player he was. Craig says, Slabowski at RB Leipzig is someone we're scouting. Yes, we are with Haidara, but the Hungarian is the most of interest. Yes, he is. Yeah, we are. We're scouting him and Haidara as well. Yeah, two cracking players.
So, Tony, just one.
Yeah, sorry, Roly.
Are we wrapping up soon, or are you expected to go on for a bit longer?
No, we'll be wrapping up soon, Roly.
Yeah.
Derek says, surely any player capable of impressing the Prem would start every game in Turkey. Yeah. Craig says, Diaby 100%. Unfortunately, the vultures are now circling. Yeah, well, that's the thing, but we just got to get in there, haven't we? Latest reliable info is Diaby to Arsenal, says Derek.
Well, how do you know it's reliable? We'll wait and see.
Yeah, we wait and see on that one. But, looking ahead to Leeds, Roly, and people in the chat as well. If I'm going to go with a predicted lineup on Saturday, and I'm just going to say, I'm going to say we'll make a change. I would say, right, my change would be, I'll put Wilson on the bench, Isak back up top. I would then bring Gordon on the left wing, play Murphy on the right, because that's what will happen. That would be my couple of changes there. And I think if Leeds have to come out and play, hopefully Forest do the job tonight and win, so it makes Leeds having to play for something. I think we'll smash them at least 4-0. What's your thoughts, Roly?
I don't think it'd be that. I'd take 2-0. Tony, I'm going to have to leave you now. But I'll just let everyone know that if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Poll67. And I'll catch up with you next time, Tony.
Okay, mate, no worries. Cheers,
Yes.
Roly. Thanks for coming on, mate. See you later. Take care. Yeah, so, I mean, I would say at least 4-0, but although you look at it and you think, is it going to be a 4-0? I don't know. But Leeds haven't been great defensively. Yes, Man City only beat them 2-1, but then Haaland should have took that penalty, should have scored. But I think we can beat Leeds, definitely. Yes, last season it was tight. It was only a 1-0 win. But the way we've been playing, I can't see us not beating Leeds. If we don't beat them by 4, I think it'll be by at least 2. So that will be interesting. But yeah, we've got to go to Leeds and we've got to win the game. Simple as. If we want to be in Champions League, teams like Leeds, no disrespect to Leeds, but we've got to beat people like Leeds United. Just going to some comments. Here. Alan says, with Longstaff absence being so important, a similar type of top quality boat in the summer. Absolutely, we need another one in the summer. Alan, you're absolutely spot on. Troll says, I'll bring ESM on the left and run them ragged. Thing is, so the reason I wouldn't start ESM, he's not 100% fit, is he? And that's why Eddie Howe only gave him 15 minutes. Maybe he only gets half an hour at Leeds, but again, you could even bring him on and give him the first half and then swap him for the second half. So who knows? David says, Roly wants his dinner, haha. Yeah, I'm not sure. He's had to rush off. Alan says the way it affects Bruno as well. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a difficult game against Leeds. I hope we have Sean back by then. We're not sure, David. I mean, if you look at Eddie's post-match, he did say, in his post-match, he said they're not sure about Longstaff being just bruising now. They think it may be more because they're going to have to look at, they're going to have another scan or whatever on him or checks. So it may be worse than what's first feared. It may actually be a broken bone somewhere. We don't know, or a fracture. But hopefully we'll find out something in the next few days. Derek says, out of all our subs on Sunday, young Elliot was a standout. I'd start him against Shawnee. Do you know what? That's not a bad shout, Derek. Forgot about that because when he came on against Forest, he played well as a left winger, didn't he? So, yeah, why not start Elliot Anderson? Yeah, put Wilson on the bench, Isak back up top, and start Anderson on the left. That would work for me. Alan says, I'll take it to beat Leeds playing well 3-1. Well, they haven't been that great of late, have they? I mean, yeah, they looked a bit better on Saturday, but then they had their backs to the wall most of the game. And Man City just couldn't put their chances away. But, yeah, it will be a difficult game, but I think we can win that game. And I think the only reason I'm saying I think if we can win by at least 4, depends how fast we start. If we start off quick, then, yeah, we can win that game hands down. But we need to win that game. We just need 6 points basically now. That's all we need, 6 points, and just make sure that we get the job done. 7 definitely guarantees Champions League, but 6 would guarantee it anyway, unless Liverpool drop any points along the way. So that's the only other thing. I mean, what Liverpool have got left coming up, they've got Leicester away next Monday, which that could be a difficult game for Liverpool. Because, Leicester are fighting to stay in the league, so it could be an interesting one. So again, wait and see what happens in that game. They've then got a home game against Villa. Again, Villa have played all right this season, so it might be a tough one for Liverpool. And then obviously the last game of the season, they're probably going to win that hands down because they're going away to Southampton, so they're probably going to win that one hands down, Liverpool. So, yeah, it could be if Liverpool drop points and we beat Leeds. If we beat Leeds on Saturday and Liverpool only get a draw against Leicester on Monday, then Champions League's definitely wrapped up for us just about. But we just got to be aware of Brighton. But I think Brighton will be too much for Everton tonight, and I think Brighton will absolutely smash Everton. Then Brighton have got Arsenal on Sunday, which will be a tough game. I think that could end up as a draw on Sunday, in all honesty. Oh, Alan says, we're playing well, not Leeds. Yeah, absolutely, Alan. Yeah, definitely, mate. Sorry, I didn't get your question right there. But, yeah, absolutely, we're playing so well. Leeds aren't the greatest. Would love us to try and ESM left wing and Gordon right wing. The pace on the wings would be unreal. But you know what, Trolls? That's not a bad shout. But again, it's the only problem is it's just ESM. We can't just push them back in for a full game, can we? Derek says the whole key to Leeds is taking our chances, which we will defo create. Yeah, absolutely, Derek. We need to take our chances against Leeds, and we need to make sure that when we do get the chances, we're clinical, like we were against Everton, like we were against Tottenham Hotspur. Clinical. That's the key in front of goal. Get the chance, put them away. Derek says 24 watching, only 9 likes away. Absolutely, Derek. Thank you very much indeed. Gary says the race for the top 4 could go down the wire, Tony, mate. It could do, but the thing is, Gary, if we beat Leeds on Saturday, that helps us out. If we draw then at home to Brighton, that's not a bad result because Brighton are playing so well at the minute. And then if we beat Leicester, we've got top 4. So I think we'll be fine. It's 24 likes at the minute. Thanks very much, Trolls. Brighton got some difficult games. Yeah, they have. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if we look at Brighton's fixtures, I mean, they've got Everton tonight at 5:30. You expect them to beat Everton. Obviously, they've got Arsenal away. Then they've got us away in that midweek game on the Thursday night. They've then got Southampton at home. You expect them to beat Southampton at home, in all honesty. They've then got Man City at home, which that's going to be a hard game for both sides, but I can see City winning that. And then they're away to Villa last game of the season. So again, Brighton's not straightforward for themselves. So I think, if we get them 7 points, we've got Champions League. I think 6 points probably secures it, in all honesty. But like you say, Gary, it could go down the wire. But yeah, I don't think it will do. I don't think we'll have to rely on beating Chelsea end of the season to guarantee Champions League football. I think it should be wrapped up, hopefully, by then. But let's hope it is. But yeah, so let's hope. But guys, if you like what you see, then please smash a like. It does help the channel up the search results, so smash those likes. Also, if you're brand new at the channel, then please hit the subscribe. Free to do so, helps the channel grow. And the bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. Joel says, I think we will step it up against Brighton. We can't lose 2 in a row at home. No, we can't. Paul says, I'd love it for us 3rd and then Brighton to pinch 4th. Do you know what, Paul? That would be absolutely funny. That would be funny, wouldn't it? That'd be brilliant. Because that'd be 2 teams in the top 4, not part of the Big 6. Absolutely brilliant. Alan says, remember, 2 places still for grabs. Yeah. One thing that's important, though, is we have definitely guaranteed a European spot, regardless of wherever we finish. So we have got European football next season, but it's where we finish. That's the key. But I still believe we can finish 3rd. So let's hope. If you do want to follow me down there at TonyTony31 on Twitter, and I'll give you a follow back. Also on Twitch as well with the same handle. So guys, I'm coming to the end of the show now, but it's been a fantastic hour and a half. I know I've done it early on a bank holiday. The reason I've done it early on a bank holiday was because I thought, well, there's games on tonight. People might want to watch the matches like Brighton, Everton, and then obviously Forest, Southampton. People might want to watch the games tonight. This afternoon, you might want to watch, hopefully, Preston beat the Mackhams, because we're all Preston, aren't we? Come on, Freddie Woodman, stop the Mackham scoring. So that's why I've done the early show, thinking if people want to watch the football later on, because I know I'm going to watch some of the football as well later, but I just thought it's probably better to do an early one on this bank holiday Monday. Paul says, just to stick it up, Liverpool, Man U and Spurs, absolutely. Great show, says Trolls. Thank you very much indeed, mate. Take care, all, and have a great day. Yeah, you too, Trolls. But yeah, as I say, I've done this early because obviously there's a lot of football today and people might want to watch football, which is understandable. And yeah. But anyway, guys, remember, the future's bright, the future's black and white. Yes, yesterday's result wasn't what we wanted, We did want to beat Arsenal, or at least get a draw. But you know what? Man U getting beat made it all the sweeter, and it took away that little bit of sour taste in our mouths from the Arsenal defeat when Man U lost. That was just dessert. So how are you, the lads? And I'll see you on the next show. Bye bye for now.